Hello and welcome back to the Hairy Housewife YouTube channel. Today we are talking a little bit of this, and like any good 90s rap song, we are featuring a little bit of that. Hello and welcome back to the Hairy Housewife YouTube channel, you beautiful lot. And today we are talking garage therapy, we are talking snow foam, we are talking version 2. Now not only are we talking that, we are going to be talking about the interior dash serum, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. Now I'd like to talk to you about the snow foam. So, we are talking version 2 of the One snow foam. If you haven't seen version 1, go check it out. I did a video a few months ago and it was an absolute corking snow foam. It removed a lot of dirt from the vehicle. It was a cracker. Go check it out. However, they've now brought out version 2. What's the difference? What's the difference between version 1 and version 2? Well, when it turned up, the most obvious difference I could see was it was a lot darker blue in the bottle than the one I had before. But on their website, they say it has improved wetting ability, it has improved foam density for higher dilution ratios, and also more concentrated than version 1. So I was like, you know what? I'm excited to give this a go. However, my car was only cleaned a few days ago. I always seem to get products in the post once I've cleaned my car. So I was like, I need a car. So I phoned up my good friend, Paul Watson at Valent Supplies. I was like, mate, I need a car, sort me out. And he messaged me back within about 5 minutes and said, I have a Nissan Navara for you that hasn't been washed in a long time. Nip on over and we'll get that cleaned. And that's what I done. So I nipped over there the next morning, set up, and we were ready to go. Now let's see how dirty this Nissan Navara was. Again, it hasn't been washed in a good few months. So it was pretty filthy. So as you can see, we have a nice 57 plate Nissan Navara to work on today. You can see as I go around the vehicle, it is covered in dirt, it is covered in grime, it is covered in pure filth. You can see also a patch there where rust is coming through, where the paint is missing. As I go around the rest of the vehicle, you can just see the vehicle is absolutely filthy. This is a perfect vehicle. Test is highly anticipated snow foam on to see if it's as good as its predecessor. Now today I'm going to be testing this in the Dodo Juice Snow Commotion Lance and the MJJC version 2. If you haven't seen why, go check out the version 1 snow foam review. I kind of explain it there. However, to cut the long story short, the MJJC over-atomized the snow foam, made it too thick and made it fall off the car in clumps, kind of rendering it useless. And there was sort of a bit of negative press about that with some reviewers that had said, you know, it's too thick, it's not sticking to the car, it's drying up, blah, 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 blah. However, if you use it through any other lance, it was absolutely fantastic. Again, if you go check the review out, you'll see what I mean. However, today I'm going to be testing both of these lances with this product because it does say on the website it has improved wetting ability. Kind of feel like maybe they've changed the formula so it works in the MJJC lance as well as it does other foam lances. We are going to find out. So we are starting off today with the MJJC version 2 snow foam lance. I have popped 150 ml of product into 850 ml of water. You don't need that much. You can get away with 75 ml and 425 ml of water. However, because I'm testing, I wanted to make sure I'd filled my lance up so I had a consistent snow foam mix in that bottle in case I wanted to test a little bit here, a little bit there, and try a few other little things with it. I didn't want to have to mix up again and maybe have a dilution wrong or a different dilution. And then I know where I stand with this bottle. But anyway, once I started spraying it onto the vehicle, you can see it is coming out in a nice blanket. However, one of the first things I noticed was it's a little bit thinner than the version 1 through the MJJC foam lance. The MJJC last time made it very thick and made it like shaving foam. However, this time round, we're getting a nice blanket of foam, but it's very watery. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Built Hamber Auto Foam. Now, I don't know if they've changed it purposely so it goes through the MJJC, like I said before, to make it a little bit more watery. Again, it does say it has improved wetting ability. So I can kind of see through the MJJC lance, it is a lot wetter foam than it was with version 1. Now, I'm going to jump straight in. We're going to try it with the Dodo Juice Snow Commotion lance. And again, as you see, it is coming out with a nice blanket of foam. However, again, just like the other side, it was a wet foam. It wasn't as thick as it was with the version 1 Garage Therapy Snow Foam. However, again, it's given a nice blanket of foam that is covering the surface and it is sticking around like you want a snow foam to do. But again, it is very watery, and it kind of reminds me a bit of a built Hamber auto foam, like I said before with the MJJC Lance. Exactly the same with the Snow Commotion. There wasn't much difference between the thickness of foam with the MJJC and the Snow Commotion like there was with version 1. But once I got that vehicle covered, I decided to let it sit to do its thing. Now for me, it was only about 4 minutes. The sun was coming down. It was in quite a windy area. But after about 4 minutes, this is the results I had. So as you can see on the Dodo Juice Snow Commotion side, it started to dry out a little bit more than it had on the MJJC side. That was down to the sun beating down on that side, the wind hitting that side. The MJJC side was kind of sheltered from sun and the wind, so it dried out a little bit more on the Dodo Juice side. We'll come back to that a little bit later on. However, it was time to rinse these snow foams off and see how well this snow foam has cleaned this dirty, dirty vehicle. Now, as I go around and rinse this vehicle off, the snow foam comes off with absolute ease. You can also see this vehicle does have a coating on it. This snow foam hasn't taken that coating off. Now, I'm not sure what the coating on this vehicle was. The owner of the vehicle didn't tell me that it was coated, but it's a good sign that this snow foam hasn't removed or damaged any of that coating that I can see on that vehicle. It was still very hydrophobic, and that water was sheeting off the vehicle like you want from a decent coating. Now, I didn't have any of my sort of pads that I usually rub down the paintwork to see how much dirt had been removed. So I thought, I'm going to let that air dry. But before I do let it dry, let's go back to the MJJC and the Dodo Juice Snow Commotion. Now I'm going to cover the back end of the car in snow foam from the MJJC, and I'm going to cover the front end in from the Dodo Juice Snow Commotion. Now this is why I filled these Lance bottles up as much as I did, because it is the same foam from the previous clips as you see in these clips. That's why I filled them up, so I didn't have to fill them up again. It may be a different dilution, maybe a different ratio. So once I sprayed them on the vehicle, I let them sit for about 4 to 5 minutes on that side where the wind and the sun weren't hitting, and you can see that it has a very, very similar dwell time. You can see that MJJC has wetted that paintwork up, as well as the Snow Commotion. Again, go watch the version 1 video. It didn't do that in the version 1. The MJJC made it really thick and clumpy, and it made that snow foam fall off in clumps all over the place. However, the increased wetting ability in the version 2 has done a cracking job at making it user-friendly with all Lances that you may have. So no longer have you got the problem with the MJJC version 2 over-atomizing it, making it too thick, turning it into shaving foam, like some people had the issue with in the past. It actually works really, really well through the MJJC Lance. However, it is a little bit thinner than I would like. I kind of preferred how thick the version 1 was. But the key thing is, does this clean? Let's see how well this cleans, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. Now again, I didn't have my foam pads with me, so I was just going to let this vehicle air dry, and we will come back and we'll see when this is dry how well this snow foam has removed that nice thick layer of crusty, salty dirt that was all over this vehicle. Now, if you remember at the start of the video, I said I had Garage Therapy interior serum to try as well. Again, I don't really like doing interior videos. I struggle with interior videos. It's a rigmarole to get the camera in there. I'm quite a tall guy, so trying to get a camera in, move around, it's a little bit awkward. So I thought, you know what? While I'm here, I'm just going to quickly try this out and show you guys the results I had on the dashboard of this vehicle, where this vehicle was drying. Now, I am doing the typical let's tape off half the dashboard test to see how well this product works. The directions say to apply 1 to 2 sprays to your preferred applicator. However, I like to use a nice plush microfiber towel. I find all the sort of little bristly bits get in all the nooks and crannies on the dashboard. Now, this product smells absolutely fantastic. It smells really, really nice. It's kind of got a nice sort of male fragrancy perfume smell to it. It smells absolutely beautiful. Now, once you've done that, you want to grab yourself a clean, fresh microfiber and rub off any excess to leave a nice satin finish behind. Now, it's not about the finish of this product. It's also about how this product works. Not only does it clean and remove sort of dirt and grime off the surface and oils, it also penetrates into your rubbers and plastics and helps replenish any lost moisture from that sort of damaged and dried out, faded sort of trim plastic, rubber, whatever you've got in your vehicle. And it also helps protect. It also sticks an anti-static layer down to make sure you don't get none of that nasty dust stuck coming straight in and sticking to your nice, fresh sort of looking plastics. Now let's pull that tape off and see the sort of finish this has left behind. As you can see, as I pull that tape off, you can see there is not a massive drastic difference. You're not seeing a nice glossy, shiny dashboard, but there is a difference there. You can see it has darkened that dash down, and you can see on the left looks nice, it looks darker, it looks satin, it doesn't look dry and faded, it just looks really, really nice. It looks like a new bit of trim, and again, it wasn't very greasy. I felt the dashboard afterwards, there was no greasy residue left over from this product. It just felt like a nice bit of new plastic on your vehicle. Now, the coverage on this product was absolutely fantastic. I sprayed 3 squirts onto that microfiber cloth. I did that little patch for you guys to see, buffed it off, pulled the tape off, and it looked lovely. However, once the cameras were off, I thought I'd better do the rest of the dash now. Can't just leave the car looking like that. Didn't even spray any more onto that cloth, just rubbed that whole panel over that I'd done. And that what was on that cloth managed to complete the rest of that panel with absolute ease. So a little bit goes a long way with this product. Now, I thought, you know what, I just want to try a little bit on one of the doors as well. So while I was there, I decided, you know what, let's give the door a go and over. Now, I didn't spray it on the microfiber cloth this time. I really should have done, because I applied far too much product to this door. And you could see I had to go over with a microfiber afterwards again and buff it all off. But once I'd done so, the look of that door, it just looked like a nice fresh door. Other than the stains that were already on the door, it just looked like a nice new piece of trim, new piece of plastic. It looked like an absolute cracking door panel. Now, that was down to this product. Before, it looked faded, it looked kind of dull. It had no sort of, no oomph to it. This product kind of give it a nice little bit of a, kind of a makeover. It's kind of like putting makeup on. It was just like a nice effect that this left behind on that door. Now, I did also find another use for this by mistake. I was walking around the vehicle, and the cloth that I sprayed it onto come in contact with a bit of outside plastic trim, and I was like, wow, that's done a cracking job. So I thought, you know what, I'll find another bit of trim in the vehicle and we'll try it on that. So you can see, as I come round to the boot where the vehicle's badge is, there's a nice big plastic bit of trim there. As you can see, as I rub it over, you can see it is darkening. It is making that bit of trim look nice, fresh, like probably the day it come out of the factory. Again, it's not going to make it overly black. It's not going to make it overly shiny. I don't like those trim dressings that make things really greasy, really shiny, really glossy, or sort of have any colorants in them. This is a good, honest interior serum that leaves a nice, oil-free, grease-free finish behind. It's not overly glossy. I'm not a fan of gloss. Gloss is like 80s, 90s. It is about the satin for me. It gives a nice satin finish. Again, isn't greasy. It's free from feeling oily. It just does a cracking job at rejuvenating those trims and making them look nice and fresh for the owner of the vehicle, or your own vehicle if you're using it on your own vehicle. Now, back to the snow foam test. How well did Garage Therapy 1 version 2 clean? I mean, the version 1 of the version 1 cleaned really, really well, and it stripped the dirt off my vehicle at the time really, really well. It did a cracking job. Can version 2 of 1 do just as good job as version 1 of 1 did? Getting hard to say that, isn't it? Let's find out. As you can see, the vehicle does already look nice and glossy from a distance, but as we get up close, you can see this snow foam, again, just like version 1, has removed a sufficient layer of dirt off this vehicle. Again, there is still some dirt, there is still some traffic film left behind, and also some water spots where I've just let the vehicle dry, and it is a high, hard water area. However, the dirt that was on the vehicle is gone, the grime that was on the vehicle is gone, and you're just left with sort of a thin film of dirt and traffic film behind. However, again, no snow foam will remove it. If you can find one, DM me. We will make millions, but it ain't going to happen. This snow foam has done a cracking job. Again, like version 1 of 1, it has removed as much dirt as it possibly can from that vehicle, ready for a contact wash. Now, if I was to hit this vehicle with a pre-wash spray before, obviously it's going to be a lot more effective than just 1 on its own. However, I was here to test the snow foam, not how clean I can get the vehicle. If I do a side-by-side comparison of what that door looked like before and after, you can see this snow foam has done a cracking job at removing a layer of dirt and grime and grit that was on that paint prior to snow foaming the vehicle. Now, would I recommend this product? Yes, I would. It is a cracking non-caustic, sugar-based premium snow foam with citrus degreasers in it. It is in a cracking snow foam. Go check the website out. However, myself using version 1 before, I'm just a little bit disappointed. So the dwell time wasn't as good as version 1 in my eyes. Again, these are my own experience on how this snow foam has worked for me. There are so many variables that can make a product react differently. It was a different car, it was a different area, it was different water than I used before, it was different weather. All these things can change how a snow foam performs. However, for me, it didn't dwell as long as version 1. It wasn't as thick as version 1. Now, through the MJJC lance of version 1 was far too thick. Through my Snow Commotion Dodo Juice one, it was perfect. It was brilliant. It was absolute corking product to use. However, through the Snow Commotion this time, just a little bit too thin for my liking. However, good news, if you are using an MJJC lance, this one will work brilliantly for you, as you can see in the footage. But for me, I would just like it a little bit thicker. Again, I don't use the MJJC very often now. I use my Snow Commotion because that gives a better sort of density of foam. It gives you that foam that you want, like double cream, not like shaving foam. However, this sort of through both lances was pretty much the same. It was a nice sort of layer of foam, don't get me wrong, but it was thinner than I would have liked, and it didn't dwell as long as I would have liked. If I had a bigger vehicle, I may have struggled to get round it before it was time to rinse off. However, the product itself did a cracking job. The product itself did clean. This one smelled a little bit nicer than the previous one. And again, a little does go a long way. You don't need to fill your lance bottle up like I did. It removes dirt. It does what you want. I just feel maybe if I hadn't used version 1 before, I would have fell in love with this product. It would have been an absolute cracking product for me. However, I prefer version 1. Would I buy this again? 100% I'd buy it again. It did a cracking job at removing dirt. It cleans really well. It's just such an easy product to use. And it also now works again, like I said, through the MJJC lance, not only other lances. So you haven't got to worry about it being overly thick. And this snow foam did an absolute cracking job at removing dirt, grime and grit before a contact wash stage. And that interior serum smells absolutely beautiful. It does an absolutely cracking job. I haven't got a price on that yet. It hasn't been released. It's not on their website. The snow foam, I believe, is £14 for a litre. That, again, I don't know the price on the serum. Now, I haven't found interior dressing that I like for a long time. Usually they leave like a greasy film behind, or they just sort of don't work as well as you'd like them to. This does exactly what you want from a interior sort of dressing, serum, whatever you want to call it. It does a cracking job. So I would recommend getting that when it is out for release and giving it a go yourself. A little does go a long way, so a bottle will last a long time. You can see it did leave cracking results behind. Guys, I have been the Hairy Housewife. You guys have been great. Make sure to check out previous videos. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you all again very soon.